So I mean, you know the concept now. We have the next session of our LeWeb success stories, now on stage will be the co-founder and CEO of Nitrogram, Gabriel, who's an expert in social media marketing on Instagram. It's a platform we didn't talk that much until now, so it's perfect. Let's welcome Gabriel for the next 10 minutes, and let's hear about him on what brands are doing nicely on Instagram. Gabriel.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gabriel. My laptop was a little late to the party, so my slides will be very, very promptly on stage. I'm the co-founder of a company called Nitrogram. We were fortunate enough to be finalists at LeWeb in 2012, in June in London. And a lot of good things have been happening since. I'll spend a little time talking about that because I've been asked to do so, but then mostly focus on Instagram, the platform that we're dedicated on helping brands for, and explain what has been going on in 2013, some of the highlights for the platform, and some of what seems to be lining up for 2014. The short story of the company, since June 2012, we've been lucky enough to raise venture capital, focus our idea on what seemed the most promising visual platform for brands in our mind, Instagram, grow the team, grow revenues. 2013 has been a fantastic year for us, and we're really impatient and eager to see how 2014 will play out. We used to be a multi-platform service which enabled people to surface, moderate, and understand the social content across visual networks, but understood during 2012 that one of these networks was definitely emerging as a leader in terms of enabling content to be created and shared in an extremely visual and enticing way by people who didn't necessarily have photographic skills. And for that reason, we really thought that Instagram had a higher potential for brands to actually leverage the power of the communities they have across the world, sharing products and services that are relevant to them. We launched Nitrogram in October 2012 and have since built our customer base to hundreds of customers across 25 countries. And we work with them both through our online platform and through bespoke services, helping them understand their audience and also, thank you very much, and also more about their community. And all that we've talked about. So let's talk about Instagram now and try and understand why we feel confident that it was a good move to go and focus on a single platform. Instagram, and these figures are to take with a little pinch of salt because they're from the Instagram official website from July 2013. They're 6 months old. Instagram will have a big announcement later today, so it can be expected that they'll be happily reporting on how successful the year was, among other things. So just bear in mind that these numbers are 6 months old. 150 million active users, roughly to give you a size of that platform versus Twitter. Twitter was reporting on 200 million active users during their IPO filing earlier this year. 60% of that user base is outside the United States, and it's a global user base across all continents. I apologize for people who come from Eastern Australia. It's very hard to fit you on a map with the format that Google Maps provides. 55 million posts coming in every day. Now, I know that everybody's been hearing about other platforms that have much higher numbers of posts being shared every day, so I'll just pick a random number and say, isn't that a little smaller than 400 million, which some of you may have heard is the number of photos shared per day on Snapchat. But oops, there it goes. The 400 million has disappeared, while the timeless, perpetual photos shared on Instagram still remain as a branding opportunity for the companies that are often represented in them. Those photos, because they look so nice, and it's just as simple as that, generate a very high level of engagement. The absolute number of 1.2 billion likes is a little hard to put into perspective, but when you compare the engagement rates that the top brands have been getting on Instagram and on Twitter, the average ratio is 100x. Brands are yielding 100 times more engagement on Instagram than they are on Twitter. which means that it's not surprising that 75% of them have joined Instagram as a platform that they officially express themselves on this year. And earlier in 2013, in January, we were reporting that just over 55% of the top brands had an official Instagram account. It's great to see the pace at which they've been joining the platform, and I think a good sign of how 2014 will also be a successful year for Instagram. The top brands joining Instagram realized that they were not the first to the party. This is a screenshot of the Nitrogram 50, a listing of 1,200 brands that are present on Instagram, 50.nitrogram. And as you can see, brands have a lot of followers, but they more importantly have a lot of photos posted about them from the community at large. And for the top brands, that number of mentions largely exceeds the audience that they've actually been able to captivate on Instagram. And so they're really on a platform on which they have to bear in mind that the creation of the community itself is just as important as the audience that they're building on their own official account. What they're doing, what brands are trying to do, and what they've been focusing on in 2013 and will be focusing on in 2014 is understanding that audience, trying to understand what the relevant content about their products is and how that might be a path to leverage their community at large. Benchmarking their performance against other competitors. Because Instagram is a public by default platform, the content strategy of other players, the content that is shared by community members on other brands is also available to brands. And so it's a social media network on which they have a lot more information than they would on a closed or semi-closed network. Obviously, what they're trying to do is optimize their visibility, how they can be discoverable to users who don't yet know where to find the brands they love. And not to loop too much on Nitrogram, but that's exactly what we provide. And through our reports and our online platform, this is the service that they can expect from us. So as a quick summary, Instagram is the top social network for brands in 2013. I'm not saying it, but Dan, the CEO of Sumall, another social media analytics platform, was happily reporting on that. We obviously concur and believe that it's only an early sign of how powerful a branding environment Instagram will be for large brands across the world. I wanted to touch base on videos and think a bit about one of the major product updates that Instagram released over the summer. The timeline for videos was fairly simple. It was seen as a defensive move against the application Vine that Twitter had purchased, and videos came out in June 2013. An important step a month later, very, very relevant for brands, was the ability to import videos and not only have to shoot them from a mobile device. And there was 1 month during which only the very daring and brave brands were actually taking an iPhone out into the open and sharing content. And after August, we saw more classical, almost pre-formatted ads joining the platform. So how have videos been performing? Roughly, the mix of video to photos on a brand's feed is 80 to 20% across top brands that have experienced video, but some haven't touched video at all. I just wanted to look at 3 brands that are very visual, very creative on Instagram, and see how they perform. So looking at Puma, looking at Red Bull that had awesome events such as Felix dropping out of the sky, and of course looking at GoPro, the mother of all video accounts. It's actually surprising to see that video has been engaging less than photos. So even though that content is extremely powerful, extremely engaging, videos are engaging less. And for Puma, it's actually twice more engaging to post photos than it is to post videos. A lot of reasons for that. One is to remember that the mobile experience a lot of users are having on Instagram may not be ideal to play videos. Is the video going to launch itself? Is the sound going to be on? Those are questions that people are asking themselves when they click on play, and lowering the ability they have to actually engage with that post. So video, still to be cracked. And of course, the major update in 2013 for Instagram was ads. So what can we say about ads? Of course, ads were announced, ads were prepared. The then COO of Instagram, Emily White, who's now left for Snapchat, obviously made it very clear that the monetization of the platform was an important goal and that they tried to do it well. And Instagram and Mark Zuckerberg also have been preparing the community for the advent of ads, which were released in November. First with a test ad by Instagram themselves, and then the very first ad on November the 20th by luxury brand Michael Kors. Michael Kors is the leading luxury brand on Instagram, both in number of followers and in number of mentions of its brand by community members. So it may not be a massive surprise that they were the first to be invited on the list. And since then, a longer list of large, established brands across all industrial sectors have been invited to take part in the first waves of campaigns, generally 3 to 4 posts, spread across anywhere from a couple of days to a couple of weeks. Levi's will be reporting on the results of its campaign soon, so will other brands that have been fortunate enough to be on the first train. What is important to remember about ads on Instagram? They're for branding. They will not be focusing on a click-through experience anytime soon. And again, this is because the mobile experience that a lot of community members are having on Instagram is not designed, will not fit for a click-through that can be inconsistent across website and across products. So I think it's safe to expect that the advertisement on Instagram will be very high-level branding at first. Of course, it could also trigger the overhaul of the search experience, which is to be expected. So if you're a brand, you should be working on your discoverability to make sure that when the search experience on Instagram, which is now very basic, but may start to be updated to also take into account sponsored posts, will affect your visibility. Ads, major branding opportunity in 2014. Wait in line if you're outside the US, but obviously, as Instagram cautiously and patiently develops advertisement there, it's expected that brands will be extremely eager to join. The last thing I want to touch upon, and it's really 30 seconds, is influence. Obviously, influence is a big deal, and influencer marketing has been very active on Instagram. Just one example, 4 very influential female fashion bloggers posting a black and white video the very same morning mentioning the very same perfume brand. Coincidence? I don't think so. So it's been going on for a while. How is it working? It's working well, but it could be a lot better for one very simple reason. If you Google influencers on Instagram, you're going to find the very same lists all over the world, and that limits the ability brands have to connect with the most relevant players. What we can hope is that brands can start looking at other metrics and actually leverage the much larger community of thousands and millions of people who've built specific audiences on Instagram. Those were some of the major points. So influence, it's working, but it will be much better. I just wanted to summarize what's going on. Instagram figures, 100 times more engaging than Twitter, and 75% of brands on Instagram. Videos, check before you figure out if it works. Ads, they're here, and prepare by being more discoverable as a brand and influence. The 2 million people with an audience of over 1,000 followers are going to make it very different and very promising on Instagram in 2014. Thank you very much.